Simon the Zealot was one of the 12 disciples of Jesus, but unlike Peter, James, or John, little is written about him in the Bible. Yet, his story is one of transformation, passion, and purpose. Before following Jesus, Simon was known as a zealot. The Zealots were a fierce and rebellious group of Jews who resisted Roman rule with all their might. They believed that Israel should be free and that God alone was their king. Many Zealots were willing to fight and even die to overthrow the Romans. Some carried small daggers hidden in their cloaks, ready to strike at Roman officials or anyone who collaborated with them. To Simon, the Roman presence in Israel was an unbearable injustice, and he may have dreamed of the day when his people would rise up and take back their land. Then, one day, Simon heard about a man named Jesus. People said he was different from other teachers. He performed miracles, healed the sick, and spoke about a kingdom. Not an earthly kingdom, but the kingdom of God. When Simon met Jesus, something inside him changed. Jesus did not speak of war or rebellion, yet his words carried power. He spoke of love, of peace, and of a kingdom greater than any earthly nation. Instead of hatred, he preached forgiveness. Instead of violence, he taught mercy. Simon chose to follow him. It was a surprising decision for a zealot, a man who had likely spent years resenting Roman rule. Among Jesus' disciples was another man, Matthew, the tax collector. A tax collector worked for Rome, taking money from his own people, often unfairly. A zealot and a tax collector would normally be sworn enemies. But in Jesus' presence, their past differences no longer mattered. As Simon walked with Jesus, he saw the way he treated people, the rich and the poor, the outcast and the sinner, the Jew and even the Roman. Jesus' love was not just for one group but for all. Simon must have struggled at times, wondering how the world could change without force. But Jesus showed him a different way. When Jesus was arrested and crucified, Simon and the other disciples were devastated. But when Jesus rose from the dead, everything became clear. The kingdom Jesus spoke of was not about earthly power but about changing hearts. The mission was not to destroy enemies but to bring them into God's family. After Jesus' ascension, Simon continued to spread the gospel. He traveled far, telling people about the Messiah who had changed his life. Though history is unclear on where he went or how he died, some say he was martyred for his faith, never turning back from the path Jesus had set him on. Simon the Zealot's life is a testimony that no one is too far gone for Jesus. A man once filled with fiery zeal for political freedom found a greater cause, the freedom that comes through Christ. His story reminds us that God calls people from all walks of life and unites them in his mission of love and salvation.